So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes so that audience
Yes,
can join in, and then we'll start.
absolutely. No problem.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Study Buzz webinar series. And today we have with us Dr. Pravina. She's a PhD in biotechnology, and she's here to help us understand what after 10th and what is the actual pathway, what is the right direction for us if we want to pursue a career in medical stream. So, ma'am, before I introduce you formally, I would like you to give us a kickstart. So, please, if you want to say something at the beginning.
I would like to basically congratulate all the audience here who have gathered for this webinar. Shabash ki to everybody, because the thing is, these webinars help these students make informed choices in their life, and it helps them, navigate through their professional career. They understand what we are supposed to do, when to start the preparation, so they are well informed well in advance, and that helps, or that gives an edge to them over other students. So I feel those who are attending this webinar today, a big round of applause to everybody for taking this keen interest in your own career journey professionally, as well as, of course, if you do good professionally, that's always going to help the country and people around you. So thank you everyone, and all the best. I hope this information, this webinar, helps you in deciding what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and you get a clear picture of what you want to pursue ahead.
Perfect, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for a wonderful start, wonderful thought at the beginning. And everyone, I would request you to keep a notepad handy so that if you find any points which are important for your notes or something, you can note those down. Additionally, you can communicate with us. So on YouTube, as you're watching this video, you can just put in your questions on the chat section and we will take those live on this session. So be ready for a wonderful interaction. डरने की कोई बात नहीं है, हम सिर्फ इंग्लिश में बात नहीं करेंगे. We can speak in Hindi, English and Marathi. So whatever your questions are, don't worry, just put it in the chat section. आप chat में बात कर सकते हैं हमसे, और हमारी कोशिश होगी कि हम सारे के सारे सवालों को यहीं पर आपके लिए हल कर दे, यहीं पर आपके लिए सॉल्व कर दे। तो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। आपको अगर चैट सेक्शन टेस्ट करना है तो यू कैन जस्ट पुट इन योर नेम, वेयर आर यू फ्रॉम एंड हाउ ओल्ड आर यू इन द चैट सेक्शन। जैसे कि मैं अभी यहाँ करने जा रहा हूँ मैम, यू कैन ऑल्सो गिव इट अ ट्राई सो द चैट सेक्शन कैन वर्क वेल। सो
Yeah.
व्हाट्स योर नेम?
So you want me to type it, right?
या या So I have posted it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Similarly, guys, you can also test the chat section. All right, guys. So the chat section is tested. So let's proceed further. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू जस्ट इन्फॉर्म यू ऑल कि हमने आपके लिए कुछ स्पेशल चीजें प्लान की है। आज के इस सेशन में हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम आपके नीट रिलेटेड, मेडिकल स्ट्रीम रिलेटेड जो भी सवाल है, जो भी डाउट्स है, उन्हें सॉल्व करें। और साथ ही साथ वी विल प्रोवाइड यू विद स्टडी बस करियर किट एंड वी विल ऑल्सो ensure कि you get maximum scholarship. We have organized a special MCQ test for you to assess what exactly can you do in this medical stream, medical field. And yes, you will also get an opportunity, a golden opportunity to have a live Q&A with Dr. Pranita ma'am. So definitely this is a wonderful opportunity for all of you to make the best out of it and get all your doubts solved, get all your queries resolved as early as possible on this session now. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our today's guest. So we have with us Dr. Pranita Tendulkar. Pranita ma'am is a senior professor at StudyBuzz. StudyBuzz is known for its like competitive exam courses, again foundational courses. In last time we did a session on JE. This time we have a session on NEET. And yes, StudyBuzz prepares students for like the tough competitions, the different competitive exams that are happening across. And as you know, like there is a cutthroat competition, so StudyBuzz equips you with that knowledge. StudyBuzz आपको वो नॉलेज इम्पार्ट करता है जिसकी मदद से आप इन कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जाम्स को आसानी से पार कर सकते हैं। मेहनत कैसे सही तरह से करनी है, कैसे सही डायरेक्शन में करनी है, ये गाइड करने में StudyBuzz अपना नाम रखता है, इसीलिए StudyBuzz जाना जाता है। एंड वी हैव डॉक्टर प्रणीता हियर who is an expert. She is a PhD in biotechnology एंड उन्होंने 7,000 से ज्यादा बच्चों को अभी तक गाइड किया है, मेंटर किया है। शी हैज अराउंड 8+ years ऑफ वंडरफुल गोल्डन एक्सपीरियंस। सो हमारे साथ प्रणीता मैम जितना एक एक्सपीरियंस प्रोफेशनल है, so without further like time, I would not take much of your time, ma'am. I would want you to help us all understand how can we, like, let's say if like we are just newbies into this after 10th, so how can we think of like a career in the medical stream? What all are the general misconceptions and how can we actually take the right direction? This is what I and all our viewers are curious to know from you. So ma'am, I would like to ask you to please take over and help us understand all that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll try my level best. Whatever knowledge I have, whatever I have understood, I will try and impart. If there are anything that is left out, if or there are certain things that I might not be able to provide, I'll see to it, I'll find out. And again, I promise that I will come back to you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. I believe that the major audience here is grade 10 going into giving exams this academic year. So those who are here, the see, as a student, as a 10th grade pass out, the child or the student would be in a position to know that there are different streams that he or she can opt for. So today, what discussion when we talk about NEET or when we talk about a medical career, it is very important that the students are going to opt for a science stream, because that is how the doors for NEET or a medical career are going to open. So, but then before we go ahead with only NEET, is it after science? Do we have only NEET that is there in the career arena? Is it so? So basically, no. So if you see, if apart from NEET, there is something called as engineering. There are some students who go for engineering. So there are certain exams that they are supposed to give to gain an entry into a college that would teach them about engineering, and then they become an engineer and start working. So as the screen, as you all see on the screen, for becoming an engineer, the exam or the degree that a child will end up after becoming an engineer would be either BE, B.Tech. But to get that degree, to get into a college, you will have to give an entrance exam, that is JEE or your state CET. Same goes for architecture as well. So architecture is another field. When you opt for science, this is another field that is open for you all. Again, there is an entrance exam, that JEE paper 2, I guess, and it is NATA exam that they have to clear out so that they become an architect, a graduate in architect. Then you have, so these two are the topics that are not of our discussion as of now today, but just for students to know that it's not only medical in science, you have these streams as well. Now we come to our topic today, and that is medicine and pharmacy, basically. So when a child wants to become a doctor, काय होणार तू? मी doctor होणार. So this question is what generally students, or many of the students give. So for you to become a doctor होण्यासाठी नक्की काय व्हावं लागेल? तर तुम्हाला NEET exam द्यावी लागेल. So there's an exam called as NEET. This is what an exam you will have to give. You will have to clear, not only clear with good marks, good score, and then you will end up getting a degree of MBBS or BDS or BHMS or BAMS. So there are a lot of degrees that you can crack after getting this NEET. Similarly, for pharmacy, there would be people who would want to become a Bachelor of Pharmacy, B.Pharm, and this would be for a child to become a pharmacist, or the child to go into the field of pharmacy. He or she will again have to give CET. Last but not the least, we also have defense options after opting for science, that is NDA, wherein for you to become a basic graduate in NDA is going to have its own entrance exam, which the child needs to clear and then gain an entry into these colleges. So this would be a rough, a big scope of what basic science stream can allow you to give. And one of it, as we are going to discuss today, would be the medical field as we go ahead. So whenever a child wants to become a doctor, whether it is an MBBS or a dentist or an Ayurvedic doctor or a homeopath, any type of a doctor the child wants to become, he or she will have to give an exam called as NEET, National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. And this test is the first test that the child will give after grade 12. So if the child wants to go into a government college, or if the child wants to go into a private college, the exam that the child needs to crack or clear is NEET. Similarly, when a child wants to go into AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, if the child wants to opt for these colleges, again the exam would be NEET, followed by another option where a child can go into is AFMC, Armed Forces Medical College. Here, the child will have to clear NEET exam, followed by the AFMC screening that they take up, and then the child is eligible to enter into an AFMC college, take those many requisite years of practice, those many requisite years of knowledge, and then become a doctor through AFMC. So come what may, if you want to become a doctor, there is no way you can bypass NEET. So this becomes an one and all exam. You clear this exam, and that is your gateway to a glorious future of becoming a doctor. So basically, if I opt for NEET, if I give this NEET exam, so there would be a few options that would be open for me. Few options as in the whole thing is open basically. But out of which, where I can go into is one is going to be a government college, or I can enter into a private college, which is going to give me the medical knowledge. And one of the most important colleges, another set of institutes that we have in all over India, is the AIMS Institute. So after clearing NEET, I can go for government, private, or AIMS college. I will discuss about AFMC in a while. If we look at the seat matrices here, government colleges are going to have around 50,000 seats. And in Maharashtra per se, if we see, there are around 5,000 seats that you would see. The numbers are already mentioned and displayed on the screen. If we go for a private college, in the private college itself, again, there are around similar number, 50,000, around 50,000 seats in private colleges. And in Mumbai itself, in Maharashtra itself, you have around 5,000. In AIMS, there are around 2,000 seats. And in Maharashtra, if you see, AIMS in Maharashtra is at Nagpur. The intake capacity for AIMS Nagpur is 125 seats. These three options are there. Apart from that, if I score more than 75% in NEET, and I opt for an AFMC screening, and I clear that screening as well, then I have a fair chance to land up into AFMC college at Pune. There are 150 seats in AFMC. 100, and I guess, if I'm not wrong, 115 seats are for reserved for boys, 30 are for girls, and then the rest of the 5 are for international candidates. So this is the rough breakup of all the seats of how you can go through. And these are all the different colleges that a child can opt through after clearing the NEET. Yes. Now, the question here is, if I have so many options here, so many colleges are there, so many seats are there, why is it that the number of doctors that are coming out are like few, or there are not everybody is so keen on becoming a doctor? The reason here is the competition is quite strong. See, that the exam per se, it might not be difficult, but the competition that the student faces is very strong here, unlike the case when it goes for JEE. So this year, if you see, the students appearing every year keeps on increasing, firstly, and there are around, you can say, roughly, we can say, by the time you all reach the NEET level wherein you will be facing the competition, it will be more than 25 lakhs. This itself, 2024 itself had seen, I guess, the total candidates that appeared for NEET was more than 23 lakhs itself. So by the time this batch watching this webinar would be, I can fairly say that it's going to be more than 25 lakhs. Now here, again, you will see there is a bit of a seat matrices that we have put in front of the students here. So in India, let us just focus the number of seats in India. How many total colleges do I have in India? There are around 700 colleges, we can just roughly approximate say that. And in all those 700 colleges, if I gather all the seats, there are around roughly 1 lakh seats present. But all those 1 lakh seats are not those seats that I am going to opt for. Out of those 1 lakh seats itself, you can see there are around 55,000 mentioned here under the category of quality seats. Now, what do I mean by these quality seats? See, I'm coming to a very important point here as I go ahead here is, see, I'll give you a very lame example right now is, we have these festivals right now, we celebrated Diwali, and I'm sure that many of you all in your family must have had a get together, your relatives must have come to your place, and then you must have decided that let's go out for lunch or for dinner or some plan that you must have made for food. Are you, as a person, going to take your family, your people, to a place which is not so good for them? Absolutely not, isn't it? So the food, you will look at what kind of food is being served. You will look at the ambience of that particular place. You will look at the service of that place. Usko kitna star rating hai. ये सब चीजें हम लोग generally देखते हैं. You might ask your friends, कैसा है वो जगह, जाएं या नहीं जाएं. So there are so many different aspects that you will test for a simple thing like taking your family out for a dinner or lunch. So you will always opt for a very good place. You will not settle for something that is okie dokie types. Same goes for our career as well. We have to work, or we have to aim for a seat that is really good. Why? Because your CV, आपका CV उसकी वजह से भारी होने वाला है. You get graduated from AIMS. ये एक सेंटेंस ही आपके सीवी को कहां से कहां तक पहुंचा सकती है. उसके साथ ऑफ कोर्स हाउ यू वर्क, व्हाट इज योर परफॉर्मेंस, व्हाट इज योर एफिशिएंसी, व्हाट स्ट्रीम हैव यू सिलेक्टेड, ये सब चीजें भी है. बट मेजर गोल तो इधर ही होगा. So it does make a difference, and that is why this quality seat thing is very important. You get my point? So there are 700 colleges, though there are over 1 lakh seats present, the quality seats that I'm having is approximately 50% or a little bit more than that. If I don't go into details of mathematics, 55,000 seats is what I have. And the students competing would be competing for these quality seats only. Do you think any Olympic contestant would aim for a bronze medal right from the start?
No.
Every contestant who is taking part in any competition, may it be even if you are taking part in a quiz competition, you would also aim for the first prize. You will not say, no, I will settle, मेरे को third prize ही चाहिए life में. This is not where you're going to settle down. I'm not saying third prize is bad. No, not at all. Of course, it has got its own pain. It has got its own hard work that you have to do. But nonetheless, when you start the game, your first aim is to get the first prize. It's the same thing for all these 25 lakh students who are going to appear for NEET, because they are also aiming the gold that they are seeing, those 55,000 seats. And that is why that is why it is called as your quality seats here. So this is about your overall India scenario. If I just narrow it down only to AIMS, see, these AIMS institutes are all over India at different states, and these are of national importance. These are very good colleges. These institutes, anybody graduating from these institutes or even going for a postgraduate course is supposed to be, is placed at a very high position. So AIMS is another college, and if I collect all the AIMS from all over India, there are around 2,000 seats. Now, out of those 2,000 seats, all of them are quality seats, because any single seat from AIMS is never going to be substandard. So any child coming out of AIMS is always going to be an edge above the others. Again, here, the same thing. I have 25 lakh students who are competing for these 2,000 seats again. Same thing. And lastly, AFMC, one college, 150 seats. And then I had also given you a rough breakup of what these basic seats would be. Again, you have those same 25 lakh students aiming for these particular seats. So now imagine there are these 25 lakh students around roughly aiming for these XYZ number of seats which are there in the best colleges in India. Don't you think the competition is real? The competition is too much here. It's like cutthroat competition. You lose one mark and you are like thousands of ranks behind a particular person.
Correct,
So,
ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you here. I would like to
yeah.
ask you this: like, you generally like train so many students across different backgrounds, and again, like their initial studies, initial scores, and all are like very different. But when they enter medical stream, they struggle. That's what I have found. Like when I spoke to students as well, I found out that initially their expectations are super high, like they want to become some like international top doctor and all. But as soon as they start facing the reality, so I would like to ask you, so what would you say for such students who are like aiming for a good position ahead in life in terms of the medical stream, and what should be their habits, what should they actually do so that they can achieve that? Yes, ma'am.
Um, nice. Thank you so much. This I was waiting for this particular question,
Thank you, ma'am.
or else I would have got it up into that discussion.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, see, whenever we start a new thing, whether it is medical or whether it's engineering or whether it is something else, not even science, initially when we are not into the drill, we find everything is to be hunky dory. We find ऐसा लगता है कि बाग इतना easy है. But
Correct.
when you actually go into the system and when you actually start working for it, then you understand the real pros and cons of anything that might be. It is not only studies. It can be a simple thing. We feel that, oh, these Bollywood actors have got such a lot of glamour. कितना मस्त है, they just go on, come on the screen, and they, such a lot of people following, fan following is there. But it is not easy to, go through that fan following as well. Same thing even in our house. Oh, it's such a nice dish mom has made. But we don't know what mom has gone through while making that particular dish, or that person who is cooking in the kitchen has gone through. So it is always, this is a universal principle here, that you start something and then you start finding the cons also of that particular thing. So the first thing is, be clear here that if you want to become a doctor, you are opting for all the pros and cons, all the positives and negatives associated with that baggage or that package of doctor.
Correct.
So there might be cases wherein you will not be able to understand what is happening. If in case of NEET itself, there are students who don't understand what is happening. Physics में क्या चल रहा है, chemistry में क्या हो रहा है, biology में botany is so painful. So there are lots of problems that the students are facing, depending upon their capacities, depending upon their capabilities. But the real person or the real student would be the one who sticks till the end. So these entrance exams in a way are kind of building resilience. Am I audible? Yeah. So this is
Yes,
kind
yes,
of,
ma'am.
I would say, it is building resilience in the students. Like, come what may, that never say die attitude should be there, first of all. Secondly, when I talk about how do I prepare, that was your question, right? So I hope I've not
Yeah,
bifurcated
yeah.
from the question much.
No, no,
So how
perfect.
do I prepare? How do the students prepare? Or if the students find that this is going out of my control, it is okay. Take a break. Have some chocolate. Take a break. Take it easy. There are some days which are good. There are some days which are bad. Nonetheless, if you have a strong support system from your family, which is one, and as also an academic support system, if you have that, if you have those teachers around, see to it that you chew their head to a pulp so that you get that particular concept clear in your head. This is what is going to be the basic things. Might sound a bit philosophical, but that's fortunately or unfortunately true. The more you practice, the more you read, the more clarity you have with your concepts, easier it is for you to handle, especially when it comes to NEET. So now those who are there in grade 10, you are, see, this is a golden opportunity for you all. You have well in advance started finding out what exactly is required for me becoming a doctor. So now that you have understood that you have to clear NEET, तो NEET के लिए क्या करना है, अभी से ही जो भी concepts है आपके, whether it is in physics, chemistry or biology, ये सारे concepts आपको clear रखने हैं. There would be chances where you would have rote learned a few concepts. अभी के लिए by heart कर देते, by heart this particular sum in physics, answer and then done. अभी के लिए ठीक है, लेकिन in the long run this is not going to help. So if you know that this concept I have rote learned it, I don't know the actual concept, at least after the examinations, take a few days gaps and then again come back to these concepts. Be true to yourself. You can't fool yourself. You can fool your teachers, you can fool your families, you can't fool yourself. ये concept मैंने किया है या ये concept मैंने रट्टा मारा है, तो वो concept ढूंढ निकालो और वो concept clarify करने का कोशिश करो. So the more clearer you are with your concepts, it would be easier for you to work ahead. So वो जो roadblocks जो आएंगे, वो, I will not say they will vanish completely, but they will disappear. The size of those obstacles might just reduce by your simple sheer determination and dedication. This is
Thank
all
you.
I would say as of now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for like answering this, because previously when I was interacting with students, they were like, "Sir, we took first year admission in like some medical course and all, but now we it is really difficult and we cannot go back." So thank you for clarifying this so well. And I know this all comes from your experience. This all comes from your connection with students. So like I am really happy that you are sharing your experiences here. Now moving on, ma'am, I would like you to help us understand, yeah, the examination pattern, like how students can like focus on each section and how can they score the maximum. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So when I talk about the examination pattern for NEET, अभी NEET देनी है fine, but exactly वो NEET का क्या है? What is the hulia of the NEET? So there are going to be three topics, three subjects that you are supposed to attempt: physics, chemistry, and biology. Before I go to the details here, there are many students who generally ask me कि miss अभी biology है, doctor होना है तो physics chemistry की क्या जरूरत है? You know, there is this normal thing. Reason one is students find physics chemistry difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, as compared to biology, it is difficult. And the reason two they feel is, which is logical enough, कि अभी हम लोग डॉक्टर ही बनने वाले, we're going to talk about human body, और मे बी अगर वेटनरी साइंस लिया तो एनिमल बॉडीज के बारे में बात होगी, तो फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री क्यों चाहिए उसमें? हम लोग वो ओम्स लॉ एंड ऑल इज नॉट, वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू इट इन ह्यूमन बॉडी और समथिंग लाइक दैट. अंडरस्टूड. The logical part of the brain says yes, correct, क्यों चाहिए फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री? नहीं चाहिए. But if we actually think from the other side of other aspect is, if I just keep one subject, okay, if I just keep biology, any which ways the competition is so difficult, because in the previous slide itself there was this success ratio that I saw, 2 students in 100 and so many, so the competition is quite high. So if I just keep one subject, it's going to be a cakewalk for all the students to crack this particular exam. Then it will become difficult on the part of the examiners or difficult on the parts of the people to actually find out the deserving candidate. For becoming a doctor, for becoming any doctor, try to understand, dear students, here is, this is also another point that I always tell to all my students is, you are going to handle one of the machines that is being made. It is one of the most complex machines that is present on this planet Earth. This machine, you have just got it without any manual. You don't have a user manual for this machine. You get my point? So if there is this error happening in some part of the body, refer to the manual and then just try and clear it out. You don't have any manual for this particular machine. Okay? And it is not a man-made machine. So you don't know what exactly has gone through and what exactly are the jugards that you have done inside while creating this machine. So you are going to crack open a code. You are going to find out an answer to the question that this unknown machine is presenting in front of you. Plus the person who is telling you all the coming in front of you with all the complaints is someone whom you don't know absolutely. You don't know at all. So when you have to analyze a person, depending upon the complaints and the symptoms that the patient is getting, don't you think you need to have really good analytical skills and analyzing skills? Application bhi hona chahiye. So in physics and chemistry, I always believe that there is a lot of concepts wherein application is required, and these subjects are the ones which are going to enhance your application skills. Just learning a particular part of theory will not make you a successful doctor. Whatever theory you have learned, are you able to apply it to the patient, or are you able to apply it to the real life scenario here? Because what you learn in theory and what happens in practicals is absolutely different. You all must have experienced in your school practicals as well. This pink color turns to purple, or some transparent color comes into pink. There are so many these color reactions that you do, and it is easy for us to write in the paper, transparent turning to pink, but it doesn't happen that way. So there are certain things that you need to analyze as you go ahead in life, and that is why these physics chemistry topics are also put in. And secondly, it is also going to increase the competition, increase the level of difficulty of that examination, so that it becomes easy for us to find out only those deserving candidates who are ready to go through the drill of physics and chemistry, followed by biology. So coming back to the topic, exactly what is there in NEET? You will have to give physics, chemistry, and biology. I have given you my point of view of why physics and chemistry must be added in NEET is this. You will have a total of 45 questions from physics to be attempted, 45 questions from chemistry, and you will have to give 90 questions from biology. So there are about 180 total questions that you would be attempting. Now, each question, whether it's physics, chemistry, or biology, each question is worth 4 marks. And if you are able to correctly answer that particular question, you will get a +4. If you miss out on that question, you will get a -1. So यहाँ पे चूक भूल माफी ऐसा नहीं होगा. If you are wrong, you will be punished with a -1 there. So this is an exam wherein you will get good marks, claps if you get a correct answer, but you will get 1 slap if you get a wrong answer. Okay, might sound a bit bad, but nonetheless this is for you all to remember that it has got something called as negative marking. And as of now I think that not all school students are well aware of this negative marking scheme, because it is either you get a mark or you get a zero. So this is maybe some students might be knowing it, but for many of you all I am assuming that it might be a new thing that, oh, you can get -1 also. So if you see the score, how much, what would be the least score that a student might get in NEET is -180. And what would be the highest score that a student might get in NEET is +720. So can you see the two parameters here? The number line that you must have studied till now is going from -180 to +720. That's what NEET is for you.
Superb, ma'am. Superb. Thank you so much for like imbibing it on our minds that you need to really be cautious while answering these questions. And if you miss on or maybe like answer it wrongly, then definitely you're gonna suffer. And the best part was that -180 to 720, because now I remember it, and I think like our neighbors would also remember. Like you have to do this. One important question which I feel like many of us would think of, like as you said, it is a 720 mark examination. So how should a person who's attempting it manage timing during the exam? Like for example, for physics, chemistry, biology, of course, as you said, like you need to be very smart in terms of answering. But let's say if someone is attempting and maybe he or she is stuck at one or two questions, so what is the ideal length for answering each question? That is one part of it. And how should one keep some time at the end or maybe at some point where they can check whether they have answered it correctly or maybe they need to like revise some answers? So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so nice. Thank you so much for this
Thank
question. So the total NEET questions that a child is going to answer is 180, and the time actually given is 3 hours 20 minutes.
you.
Okay,
Okay.
so when I tell students, I say that keep these 20 minutes bajume. So you have 3 hours, which is 180 minutes for
180.
180 questions.
Yeah.
So the mathematical mind of mine is telling me, okay, so 1 minute, one question.
Yeah.
Get it? Yes, true. 1 minute, one question. But that is not going to be enough. The time or the amount that you take to solve biology questions, because biology will have very less, or rather, I would say negligible solving things as such. It's majorly theory based. So you read the question, you either know the answer or you don't know the answer, or maybe you might have to conclude the answer thinking, acha, aisa hai, this is happening, so this is the answer. There is no solving as such. But physics and chemistry, yes, you will have a little bit of solving involved in it. So physics, chemistry requires more time than the other, as compared to biology. So if you ask me, there are around 90 questions in biology. So if I say 90 questions, matlab 90 minutes, that goes around 1.5 hours. No, you don't afford, you are not so rich when it comes to time. Okay,
Correct.
so the maximum amount of time that a child can give can be around 45 minutes to 1 hour for biology. The
Okay.
rest 2 hours 20 minutes, which we had kept in bajume in the
Yeah.
beginning, that goes for your physics and chemistry. So max by max, I would always suggest my students to complete your biology in an hour's time. तो वो 1 घंटा बोला तो वो 10 मिनट और आगे जाता है. Okay, and NEET is an exam where your speed and accuracy, these are the two aspects that are being tested. So you increase the speed, there are students who lose out on accuracy, so they come with -1s, a lot of -1s of them. And if you try to increase your accuracy, so you are so very specific about the correct answer, you do get it correct, you don't get a -1, but you lose out on questions. You're not
Correct.
able to complete the 90 questions. So it becomes quite a difficult task for students to manage the speed and accuracy at that time. So as you are preparing for NEET, these 2.5 years that a student is going to put in, the first focus would of course be knowledge, and gaining the knowledge, knowing what the theory is, and also working upon your own speed and accuracy part of it. So as far as your question is concerned, biology ke liye, I would say 1 hour or less than an hour, and the rest 2 hours 20 minutes which you have, usme se 2 hours 10 minutes you can take in, would be for physics and chemistry. And the last 10 minutes that we have
Mark that.
partitioned,
Yeah.
that would be for those questions wherein you are dicey, answer A hai ki B hai, that answer. So at times you might come to a correct answer and you mark, or you just leave that question empty. There is no inky pinky ponky happening in NEET. Because if you do this, if you try your luck, -1 for sure. Many a times, of course. I'm not saying everybody is bad at luck, but nonetheless, yes, luck things we don't in NEET, it generally doesn't work that way. So 1 hour for biology, and the rest of the time you can divide it into physics and chemistry. Also, now this depends upon the child's comfort level with the subjects. So there are students who find chemistry difficult, so they might put in more amount in chemistry. There are some students who find physics difficult, so there would be, they would put that extra time in physics. On an average, as far as I have met these students, I have never found a student finding anything difficult in biology. So, that aim of 1 hour for biology is what I always tell all the students. Nonetheless, if there is any other student, I'm not generalizing anybody. If anybody finds anything difficult in biology, then that might change. But nonetheless, as far as my advice goes, please give more time to physics and chemistry. That is going to balance out your marks, will help you in getting a higher rank.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful insight, like how to manage your time efficiently so that you can answer these questions, attempt this exam in an effective manner. And one important tip which you also shared was no inky ponky, because if you just randomly go on selecting answers, then it will be a challenge. And I
No,
feel like
I've seen students doing a design on their OMR sheet. It's not let them it's not let them anywhere.
yeah, and I've seen like many a time students are on that quest, like if I leave questions then I'll lose on my marks and all, and they start like randomly answering questions. But of course that, and I feel like NEET and JEE, all these exams generally are there to assess whether a student can leave some questions if they are not sure about it. Like that is also a very good aspect which I find in these examinations, because rest, if there is a theory exam, of course anyone can write a lengthy essay and probably try to score something.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
in such MCQ based examinations where you also have a negative marking parameter, so here I feel these exams are actually there to kill the competition, not actually to like see who is going to score more, but wants to assess whether the person is really willing to take that decision or not. So that is a
Vision
very
or not. It makes a person, himself or herself clear with what he or she wants.
yes,
Till now, because of this no negative marking, no, because of students not being used to this negative marking scheme, they feel
yeah,
that if I lose out, mila to mila.
yeah,
But
yeah,
यहाँ पे मिला तो मिला नहीं है, नहीं मिला तो जाएगा तेरा marks. That is very important here, that students don't understand, because they come from a background wherein it is either you get a +1 or you get a 0.
correct.
So it is like that. Getting a 0 is like safe. You have not lost, not gained, nothing. 0 hai, kuch nahi. No nuksan, nothing. But -1 changes the game here.
And
So
one more thing which I wanted to ask you specifically, because during my research with students and all, I found out that there's also a parallel exam by the name MHT CET, right? And that
yes,
exam is just like you have to answer. There is no negative marking, and probably compared to the NEET examination, the level of questions is a little simpler compared to like the NEET questions. So
yes.
let's say if there is a student, ma'am, who is currently like preparing for like the higher education in medical stream, and they have to attempt both the examinations. So what would be your advice for someone, like should they prepare only for NEET and CET will be like cracked, or there will be different set of directions for both the exams? What are your thoughts on?
As far as NEET and CET are concerned, if the child is opting for giving both the exams, then I would say please put in more efforts in NEET, because
Okay.
CET is majorly based on your grade 11 and 12. So whatever state level grade 11, 12 textbooks are prescribed, you do that any which ways, you will have to study for boards. So when you are studying for boards, the grade 11 and 12 syllabus that the child is going to undertake is enough for it to, attempt CET. Of course, CET practice books are there, then there are a lot of questions and other things that a child can also opt for. But nonetheless, if the child wants to give both the exams, then I would suggest more time or more effort should be put into NEET, because it is quite a bit of a difficult exam, or the level is a little bit higher as compared to CET. And for CET, you, as you are doing your 11th and 12th grade, which is mandatory, which any child has to give. Even if you want to give NEET, 11th and 12th, clearing 11th and 12th is going to be a minimum qualification for giving NEET. So for that, as it is, any which ways you're going to study for 11th and 12th, which you are automatically preparing for CET as well. So it becomes a simpler exam comparatively as compared to NEET. However, you can only opt for pharmacy there if
Yeah.
you go for the CET. You will not be able to go for an MBBS course by giving CET.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that important tip again, because this was one question which was popping up in like some students' mind, and I'm happy like you answered it. So proceeding further, I would like to just remind our viewers that whoever is watching this session live is going to get a lot of things. One of those is like a study bus career kit. So this session is organized by study bus. Study bus is known for its courses in IIT JE preparation, then medical and foundation courses. And yes, study bus is going to help you understand like how can you proceed ahead in your career. So for that, you will get a study bus career kit. Additionally, you will also get scholarships. So स्टडी बस ने ऑर्गेनाइज की है एक एमसीक्यू एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट, जिसे आपको स्टडी बस सेंटर पर जाना है और अटेम्प्ट करना है. जैसे ही आप टेस्ट अटेम्प्ट करेंगे, आपके स्कोर्स को देखकर आपको एक्सपर्ट्स गाइड करेंगे. जैसे प्रणीता मैम है, वैसे ही और एक्सपर्ट्स आपको वहां सपोर्ट करेंगे, गाइड करेंगे कि क्या आपको डायरेक्शन लेना चाहिए अपने करियर में. एंड यस, also one golden opportunity today on the session live is that you have a section, you have a segment where you can talk to Dr. Pranita ma'am live and get all your queries resolved. So that is a wonderful win-win for everyone. Definitely make best use of it. Ask your questions. If any parents are watching this session, please, I would request you all also to like put in your queries, whatever are related to the education system, or probably like how can your student or your child proceed ahead in the medical career. We would love to take those questions and help you understand what is the way ahead. Proceeding ahead, ma'am, I would want you to help us understand this matrix which you have designed. So, yes, over to you.
Yeah. So again, coming back to the same point that I had just said, that when you are going to take your family out for a dinner or lunch, you are going to look at the good place. Also, you're going to look at the money that will be involved, you know. So you will take the head count, how many number of people are there in the house. So do I take my whole family to a very big fancy restaurant? Is it possible for me? जेब को भी वो क्या बोलते हैं, I don't know a Hindi word for it, परवड़ना चाहिए. That's what I can think of.
Yeah.
You know, it should be affordable basically. You just because it is a good place, you can't just think of, you know, going there and having lunch or dinner with your family, because of course बाद में bill तो भरना है आपको ही. So there are two aspects to everything, as I always say. नीट एग्जाम अगर क्लियर कर रहे हैं तो अच्छा कॉलेज तो चाहिए, बट एट द सेम टाइम वो कॉलेज का फीस भी अपने को देखना चाहिए. ये एक मान्यता है. देयर इज वन थिंग दैट एवरीबडी नोज इज मेडिकल knowledge or medical field is a bit costly. Yes, it is costly if you land up in the wrong restaurant. It is not costly if you go into a proper restaurant with proper knowledge and proper score. So based on these two aspects, which college and what fees, there would be, you know, we have divided the colleges into 4 different categories. The first category is being shown on the screen here. Now, when I want to, looking at the names of the colleges, that though you will understand later, but nonetheless, I want you to pay attention to the marks, the last 2 columns there, wherein you can see the opening and the closing marks followed by the annual fees there. So when you are doing this, when you're looking at these marks, you will see that for a particular college, these are all your government colleges here. If you want to end up into these government colleges, the marks that you need to get out of 720, by the way, NEET exam is out of 720. You should get minimum of 660 around, so that you can land up into this particular college, the first college that's mentioned. And you can see that the fees per year is 2,900, around 3,000, which might change by the time you come, but not much. You understand? So here per year fees would not go beyond 5,000 by the time you come, you take admission in this college. So this list that you see right in front of you are very good colleges, very renowned colleges, and their fees are really less as compared to other private colleges. So they're ranging from 3,000 to max by max 50,000 a year. And if you opt for an MBBS course, you will have to go for 5.5 years of education. So you can multiply this particular amount into 5 and then see how much is it going to cost. सो जो लोगों को लगता है कि नहीं है इसमें करोड़ों रुपए लगते हैं मेडिकल फॉर बिकमिंग अ डॉक्टर, यू रिक्वायर लॉट्स ऑफ मनी, which is true if you land up in the wrong college. But if you get into something of these types of colleges, it will not go into crores. That is what I want to pay attention. I want the students to pay attention here. So यहाँ पे what focus you have to give is at the marks that are going to begin, the ending, the closing marks. Basically, for you to get an idea how much minimum marks that you need to get so that you land up in these colleges. And why this college? Because they are very good colleges and their fees are very less. As you move ahead, these colleges which are very renowned, there would be a second set of colleges jahan pe the colleges are good enough and the fees are still low, you know, it's still manageable. So these are all the colleges that you will see that though they are good enough, the cutoff is a bit less, fees is a bit high than the first college, the first set of colleges, but nonetheless they are not very, you know, out of budget. It is still manageable fees here. So you will see as your marks keep on going down, as the column of marks is going down, the column of your fees is going up. That's the second part here. The third set of college or the third category of college would be colleges which are good enough, but their fees go to a higher level, or they go to a to the bracket beyond 1 lakh. So now that goes beyond 5 to 10 lakhs for your whole course, or even more than that for that matter. So again, you will see, compare. The marks are going down, but the fee column is increasing up. The number of digits is increasing. So this is what is going to happen when we talk about basic medical fees that are required. High fees क्यों है? Again, because you are landing up into colleges जहाँ पे अगर कट ऑफ कम वाला कॉलेज आपने चूज किया है उसका फीस थोड़ा ज्यादा रहेगा. So these colleges generally come under the category of your private colleges or, you know, deemed universities, depending on that. And the last one would be the college is also not so good and it's having an extremely high amount of fees, or less renowned. I wouldn't say good or bad. It would be renowned colleges, known colleges and not so known colleges. So no college would be bad per se, but nonetheless with the knowing factor of it. So less renowned colleges, you will see, they are going to have really high fees, and then that is what people are talking about. Like, it is going in crores, it's going in lakhs. So look at again, though the marks are going down, it's coming down to 395. You can see the second last column there. The last column, it is giving us 395 cutoff, but you can look at the annual fees that it is giving us. So this is what I mean by going into a good college. Because as you go into a good college, the first and the second slide colleges, you will understand that your CV is becoming heavier with the name of that college itself. And secondly, you will feel lighter because you will not have to pay that much fees. Any student or any parent would want their child to get the best of the knowledge and to get in the least amount of fees. That is always what everybody wants, isn't it? So these very renowned colleges with low fees, also some of them, another important point that I want to make here is many of them are hospitals. You know, the college is associated with a hospital. So when you have such a college associated with the hospital itself, you will get to see hands-on experimental, hands-on knowledge experience about the incoming and influx and efflux of the patients that is happening in that hospital. है ना? तो as you all know, theory अलग होता है, practical अलग होता है. So अगर hospital से जुड़ा हुआ college अगर है, तो आपको उतना ज़्यादा exposure मिलने का chances है. There are more chances of you getting exposure to the real human situation that happens in that particular hospital. So that is what these very renowned colleges are all about. Plus the name itself is good. The kind of knowledge that they give, the kind of education that they have is good. Plus the fees is also low. The second last two categories, the C and D categories that you can see here, the colleges are good enough, but they might not be that renowned. And also another negative or a con that I can say here is would be the high fees, which might not be affordable for every parent out there, for every student out there. So the aim should be to land up first into A college. If not A, go to B. So for landing up into A and B, That's how you will have to work. So now you know the goal. Once you know the end point, you know अगर वो end point चाहिए तो मुझे कौन सा रास्ता लेना है. Once you know your destination, then it becomes easy for us to manage our journey कि भाई कितना कितना time है, red line किधर है Google map पे, yellow किधर है. Accordingly you can start your preparation in that manner.
Rightly said. Rightly said. Fantastically explained, ma'am. Thank you for giving us that Pakshi ki aankh. And now you have trained our Arjuns to like aim on that. So thank you so much for helping us understand what is their exact goal. कैसे उन्हें अपने ध्येय को निश्चित करना है और उसके मुताबिक अपनी steps लेनी है, आगे बढ़ना है. Moving ahead, yes. So marks के मुताबिक मैम, if we as you said A, B, C and D categories colleges की होती है generally. तो what is the promised land for it? Like कौन से score में कौन कहाँ जा सकता है? This is what we would like to understand from you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we go into the promised land here, which I have already given a fair idea of it, a child scoring less than 360, less
Yeah.
than, you see, basically na NEET में, before I go to this, NEET में qualifying marks are 50, like it's like 50%. More like, no, sorry, not 50%, 50 marks. I'm so sorry, 50 marks. सो ये हो जाता है तो नीट क्लियर हुआ है. बट ये 50 मार्क्स और 50% मार्क्स आर नॉट वेर इन यू आर गोइंग टू लैंड अप इनटू एनी कॉलेज. सो पर्सन गेटिंग अराउंड 360 marks,
Yeah.
no recognition, I would suggest that child to please repeat the exam, because this is not acceptable and no college will take in such a candidate who is getting less than 360. We move to the next slab, like 360 to 450. If a child is getting into this particular category, the only options open for the candidate are private colleges. And when I come into the category of private colleges, the fees are sure going to be really high. So यहाँ पर parents and students को एक informed decision लेना पड़ेगा, looking at all the aspects, not being too very emotional or very this thing, but nonetheless, if the marks are less, the fees are going to be high. Moving on to another slab here, till 550. Semi-government colleges, or you have these, again, another set of private colleges, the good colleges, but with higher fees. So fees would be still higher, like 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs per annum. So that much amount will go up to for 5.5 years. And assuming that the child is not missing out on any year in those 5.5 years. So if there is any other year that the child flunks, so that will also be added to it. Now, for the A and B categories that we just now discussed, if the child wants to land up into those A and B categories, minimum marks would be 550. 550 तक अगर मिल रहा है, 550 के ऊपर, 550 तक नहीं, 550 के ऊपर अगर जा रहा है, then there is a fair chance that the child might land up into a government college. Government college, जहाँ पे those are renowned colleges and they are also having the fees that are to be less in thousands. We are coming into the level of thousands. Till now we were in lakhs per annum. Now this is thousands per annum. And you go beyond 600, then there is a fair chance of you going into an AIMS or an AFMC, which is the A category list colleges, which are very well renowned colleges with very less amount of fees. So 3K, 3,000 to 50,000 wala jo range tha, the first slide that we just now see, which we just now saw, that slide or those colleges come under this particular mark slab. So you gain these particular marks, you get into this category or you get into the bracket, what I mentioned on the extreme left corner, the marks corner. That is how you're going to connect. More the marks, lesser the fees, better the college, and vice versa. So this is basic of what the promise NEET is giving you. अगर इतना मिल रहा है तो मैं तुम्हें ये कॉलेज दे सकता हूँ, अगर इससे कम मिल रहा है तो तुम्हें ये कॉलेजेस में सेटल होना पड़ेगा. This is what is NEET promising the candidates.
Super. And ma'am, like I know like at study bus generally like there is a practice that is known as Pancha Sutra. So
Yes.
I found this interesting, and I want you to help us understand how does this Pancha Sutra work in terms of your studies. And I feel like our audience will definitely benefit from this. So please help us understand how does it work.
This is an amazingly beautiful concept that we follow at Study Buzz here is See, the thing is, we have to practice a lot. The more you practice, the better you get at it. You know, it's not only with NEET, it's with any academic thing. It is
Yeah.
with games and sports, and it's a rule of life. The more you practice, the more you get better at it. So here, any teaching that is imparted, there is something called as DPPs that the child is made to solve. You know, DPPs are like the secret, the key ingredient of cracking this NEET. So DPPs are daily practice problems that every student has to understand. The word itself is self-explanatory, daily practice problems. Just learning theory is not enough. You need to practice. As I told you, you're going to work on your speed and accuracy. So DPPs are the key for you to sharpen your aspects or skills of speed and accuracy. So you understand a particular topic, you solve those DPPs. Now in those DPPs, if you don't have any doubts, no problem. You will test yourself. You will go to the testing level, the diamond out there, and you will give the you will test yourself. And after testing also, you don't have any problems with it, your performance will be analyzed, and we move to the next topic as far as student is concerned. But in case if a student is having a problem in the DPPs, there are certain questions or there are certain doubts, then there is another session of doubt solving that the teachers have handle or teachers have along with the students. Then after the doubt solving, again the same scenario, it goes on for testing, the paper is discussed, performance is analyzed. So this, you know, these loops that you see are interconnected, and it is not just once that it happens. There may be numerous, what do I say, iterations of these particular loops here. So you have this teaching, you solve the problem, and I have some doubts, I solve the doubt, you know, then I again test myself, I again have doubt, I discuss the paper, then again my performance is weak. That means still the concept is not clear, I'm not able to, you know, crack that particular thing. I again go back to the teacher, and as I always say, chew your teacher's head to a pulp. You know, the same thing is happening, and this whole thing is back again going. So this will be repeated till that child is confident enough in that particular concept. And once that confidence in a concept comes, that time the child is not going to turn back. And this is a perfect plan or a strategy wherein the child will see to it that this thing is not skipping my mind. Because rote learning will not help much, especially in NEET. It's clarification of concept, and this whole thing is going to lead to that.
Rightly said, rightly said. So understand, like, the idea is to practice more and get all your doubts clarified as and when needed. And there were students from Studyverse who have already done that at an excellent level. So as you can see on the screen, guys, we have toppers, NEET toppers. And these students, ma'am, if you could just help us understand how were these students when, like, your team were teaching them, were training them in terms of their examinations? Yeah.
It was a pleasure to teach all of them. First of all, they always used to be happy in the class.
Yeah.
अरे lecture है ऐसा नहीं था. So a few days of course if we get, but nonetheless these students were in a position to know what is happening. they were they always tried to put their 100%, you know, and slow and steady. I will not say that day one se ye log ekdam extraordinary the, no, not at all. They were just normal like you and me. But over these 2 years, the way we practiced the Panchasutri and all that we followed, slowly they, you know, sharpened their skills, and they were able to reach the level that the marks that we are putting. And it takes immense pleasure, you know. I also feel a bit of that pride moment. That small little part of me inside makes my heart swell with pride, you know, looking at them on the screen. So that's it. So their start was a very humble start, just like you and me. They were not
Yeah.
extraordinarily brilliant or something like that, but they had that power, the determination, the dedication, and that discipline in them, which made them reach here. The 3Ds, they always had that. This is what they should see.
Yeah, and one related question which I see is like percentage and percentile. So can you just simply help us understand with an example? Because I see in Isha, where here we have a topper by the name Ishan. He has 100 percentile. Does this mean he earned 100 marks, or how is it? Like, can you help us understand that?
No. See, as far as this percent and percentile topic goes, I am not a maths teacher, so I might not I might not give good justice to this topic. But as far as my knowledge goes, how much ever I have understood the topic of percentage and percentile is, they are not the same. First of all,
Yeah.
so 100 percentile does not mean that he has got 100%. 100
Okay.
percentile means he's the first one and there are 100 people behind him. Out of
Okay.
those, if I consider a student crowd of 100.
Got it.
So this means it's like if I have 100 students, say, and out of those 100 students, say, say 5 students have got 60%.
Yeah.
5 students have got 60 marks, मतलब 60% उनको मिले हैं. So वो
Correct.
5 बच्चों को 60% मिला है, 60% मिला है. Okay,
Correct.
only 5. So I might be the fifth one here with 60. This must be 61, 62, 63, 64, whatever. I am
Correct.
60. So what is the percentile here is मैं फिफ्थ पोजीशन पे हूँ और मेरे पीछे जो बच्चे हैं वो 60 तक नहीं आए हैं, वो 59 तक ही है, मैक्स बाय मैक्स.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so people behind me, if it is a 100 ka crowd, there are 95 people who have not got 60, who have not even reached 60.
Correct.
So as far as my knowledge goes, I am at 95 percentile because मेरे पीछे 95 बच्चे हैं जो 60 तक नहीं पहुंचे हैं.
Got it.
I am the
Got it.
first one to get 60. So this percentile that you see is giving you the actual position of that पूरे crowd में ये लोग किधर है, तो ये लोग इधर है, this point पे 99 पे है या 100 पे है, मतलब this is the first person, he's got 100, मतलब उसके पीछे उतने सारे बच्चे हैं, यहाँ से लाइन शुरू हुई है. You know, you can say in that manner.
Fantastic,
This
ma'am.
is
So,
what
like,
I think.
no, no, fantastically explained. Thank you so much for clarifying that. And I'm so happy to see like we have students who are on 100 percentile, around 99 point something percentile. So a wonderful result. That's what we can make out. And with your guidance, with your team's guidance, Study Bus team has really like helped them shape their careers. So thank you so much for being wonderful motivators, wonderful mentors for them. And yes, guys, I would like to just once again remind you from Study Bus side, you will get a Study Bus career kit. Additionally, you have to come to a Study Bus center to attempt an examination, a small MCQ test. And with that MCQ test, you will also get expert advice, like how Pranita ma'am is guiding you. Similarly, there is a team of expert professionals, expert teachers who are going to help you understand your career journey ahead, step by step. What are the steps to be taken out? Everything will be mapped out in detail. So do visit Study Bus centers, and yes, you will have a segment at the end to ask your questions to Dr. Pranita. Before that, I would like to just showcase where are our Study Bus centers. So just have a look at this small AV. There's one center at Khadakpada in Kalyan. Then again, there's one center in part of Kalyan. And then the Dombivli center. Kalpa center. Manpada center. This one, Thane center, the main center. And this Navi Mumbai Vashi center. Nurul. And Khata. The total 9 centers. You will find all the details on our website. You will pass the details on that. You can visit any of the centers which is near to your place. Definitely, like come for the MCQ test wherever it is close by, wherever it is near to you. And yes, additionally, like you will get a chance to interact with our experts. This MCQ test will help you to map your career. तो definitely आप इस टेस्ट को अटेम्प्ट करने के लिए किसी भी स्टडी बस सेंटर में आ सकते हैं. एंड आपको यहाँ पर मिलेंगी स्कॉलरशिप्स, यहाँ पर मिलेगा एक्सपर्ट गाइडेंस. सो डू कॉन्टैक्ट अस. And now I would like to see if there are any live questions for ma'am. One question, ma'am, which I have got on the chat was related to ma'am. If I'm not someone who is from English medium background, so will I be able to like become a doctor like in a English, like in some premier institute, from some premier institute? Yeah.
Absolutely. Languages are for us to communicate, to understand what that person has to tell. Nonetheless, English is a medium of education nowadays. It will become easy if the person has an English background. But if
Yeah.
the person does not have an English background, the 2 years that they have, the 11th and 12th, are the best time wherein they can build up their skills in this particular language, because the further education that might happen would be in this language. This does not limit you from becoming a doctor, because even when you're giving NEET exam, the entrance exam itself has got n number of options in which you can attempt the paper, right from Marathi, Hindi, English, you have Kannada language, Telugu language. So different languages, it is being the questions are being put up. You select the language, you can give that entrance exam, and you can move ahead with your journey. So language shouldn't be a barrier. Nonetheless, my advice would be those that the 2 years of preparation that you have, and now if you are completing your 10th standard in another language apart from English, now is the time wherein you can also side by side start working on your English skills as well, because further the medium of language would be English, and that would help you as you go ahead.
Fantastic, ma'am. And one more question which has come up in the chat section is relating to, ma'am, how should I focus on my studies? Because there's a lot much to cover, like so many subjects. Then again, in-depth knowledge for competitive exams. Then again, so how can I manage my time well and focus on the studies that I have to conduct? Yeah.
Good question, I must say. See, this journey of you giving NEET is going to be from about 2 years. Okay, it's going to be for 2 years, 2.5 years. So in this particular time, whichever institute you enroll yourself for the support, say study bus for that matter, even if you go, the first aim is the first year would be completing about the portions. You have portion for 11th, you have a set of chapters for grade 12 in physics, chemistry, and biology. So the main focus should be on the NEET exam, on the NEET paper, firstly. And then as in when you go ahead, when the exams, the college exams happen, when the board exam happens, there is also some amount of time which is allotted for you all to prepare for those particular things. So the NEET and the board preparation will not clash, is one thing. Secondly, as you're preparing for NEET, to some extent you're preparing for your boards as well. The only difference is NEET is an MCQ, so you just have to color those bubbles out there, and here you will have to fill pages together. And this you have always been doing it for like for the past 10 years, so it's nothing new that you will be doing. So there's not no tension here. Now the point here is your days, every single day, how do you plan it? See to it that maybe initially you might go a bit slow, because you're getting a hang of the things that are there around. Physics bhi hai, chemistry bhi hai, biology bhi hai, ek saath sab kuch aa raha hai, how do I do it? So you till you get a hang of it, maybe it might take about a couple of months or so. But once you get the वो एक बार वो आपको nerve आपको मिल जाए, once you get that particular thing, then every single day counts. Every single day counts. And as and when you move ahead in your journey, एक साल हो गया, 1.5 year हो गया, the number of hours that you're putting is going to increase. So I always suggest students that you team up biology with physics and chemistry. For all these years that I have seen is students struggle in physics and chemistry because they are a bit difficult as compared to biology, all accepted. So you can't, don't try and put physics and chemistry on one day when you're studying. The key is you take physics and you put one chapter of biology or half a chapter of biology. So thoda sa heavy and light, ye aisa combination आप करते करते अगर if you plan the day, that is how you're going to prepare. Plus the Panchasutri that we talked about, you learn, you solve, be true to yourself and find out the doubts, accept it. ये नहीं समझा है तो go back to the teacher, clarify it, test yourself, and then again move up to the next topic. Till the time you are, convinced with you whether you have understood a particular thing or no. Till the time you have convinced, don't move to the next topic. You need to be sure with yourself. As I always say, you can fool the rest of the people around you, but you can't fool yourself. So be clear with what you have understood, whether you have understood it or whether you have not understood it.
Surely. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for clarifying all the questions. And I don't see any more questions now. So thank you everyone for being a kind audience. And ma'am and I, we both would like to wish you all the very best. Ma'am, any thoughts at the end that you would like to say as a conclusive thought? Yeah.
Um, nothing. I'm just happy that whatever I knew, I was able to send it across to all the students. I would just
Thank
say that, be well informed with what all things you want to do. Be true to yourself. Find out your strengths, and equally be ready to face your weaknesses always. Accept your weaknesses, and knowing your strengths and weakness, make an informed decision of what you want to go ahead with. If you want to become a doctor, trust me, it is one of the most lucrative fields. It is one of the most satisfying field that you can ever go through. It has its own pros and cons, but it is not only for the medical field. You will see this for every field that you choose, as I always say this. So you want to become a doctor, remember you're going to handle the most complex machine, and you will have to find out what is wrong with that third person sitting in front of you. So for that, you need to be strong physically, mentally, emotionally, and educationally as well. So, with all these 2.5 years of preparation, it is just the start. ये तो क्या बोलते हैं ना, picture अभी बाकी है. This is just a trailer of what it would be. I am not trying to, scare you or something, but nonetheless, it is also rewarding. जितना वो difficult दिखता है, उतना ही rewarding है, और उतना difficult वो नहीं है. It is just that you need to have that sheer determination of becoming a doctor. Also, becoming a doctor is not anybody's cup of tea, by the way. Only those who are determined, those who are strong-willed, will reach the end. Remember that. So if you are courageous one, if you are that courageous one, then you will reach the goal. So
Fantastic.
thank you so much. That's all I can think of. All the best. Hope you find your way.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, and you can connect with us on the details which we have shared on the screen. And we would love to see you at the Study Bus Center for the MCQ test, followed by expert guidance and, of course, a lot many scholarships. All the very best for your exams, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.